Hello and welcome to another exciting edition, episode number 2 of the Panthers podcast. We are out here and we are live. Yes, episode 2 coming hot at ya. I know what you are thinking. Who is that mustachioed man screaming in my ear about spring football? Well, I am Jordan Fitzpatrick, aka the Golden Throat, but better known as FBI Tugboat.
You ever made out with a tugboat?
We are coming through with a very, very exciting another week of spring football of UFL. Panthers specifically getting it done, guys. We got a little more organization here on the day as well. Little topics action. Oh, other side, other topics action. I always do that. Little topics action. Yes, we're gonna come through here, start you off. If you guys didn't watch it, spoiler. Michigan Panthers taking down Houston Roughnecks 34-20, a 14-score differential. After we get through the game recap right there, we'll take a look at some standout stats. Really dive into some of those. Fortunately, they've done a much better job of reporting stats. Not exactly live and whatnot, but at least giving you guys like a lot more. We will then get into power rankings, both members of the UFM, the United Football Media, as well as my own. And then, of course, getting into week number 4, a little preview action for you guys coming in against the San Antonio Brahmas, and then rounding this out, of course, with your betting segment. Now, without further ado, let's hop on into this one. Hop on in. Bam, bam, bam. Oh, first and foremost, folks, I am quickly becoming a Mark Mitchell fan here. Mark Mitchell, let's take a look at the man's bios, and you guys can follow along if you so choose. At by Mark Mitchell here, pro football writer, reporter, insider covering UFL and CFL for Sports Illustrated for a couple different people, contributed for the Jet Press and Fan Sided. Consistently been putting out these attendance numbers and whatnot. We'll get into some of the other numbers that he puts out and whatnot. But you can tell the guy really loves spring football, and these are sometimes numbers we're not able to access otherwise here. So again, big fat shout out here to old Mark Mitchell. Really appreciate that. Why is this? Let's bring that over. I don't know why it's so far over there. Come hither. A little bit closer. Closely. There we go. Much better. Arlington, 84. Excuse me, about 8,400. Birmingham, 12.2. This is also, as many others have mentioned, this was during the spring game. This was during the University of Alabama spring game. If you didn't know anything about them, well, they have one of the most storied college football coaches of all time, and Nick Saban just retired. Nick Saban, or if you're another SEC fan, Nick Satan. Yuck. Go Cox. A lot of respect for Nick Saban, all jokes aside. Seriously. Michigan, just shy of 7,000. And San Antonio, we'll call it 11-8. Call it 11-8 right there. Guys, the Ford Field, man. Ford Field. This is where the Detroit Lions play, outside of being in a dome, which I don't hold against them as much as some other UFL contributors or content creators would. It's Michigan. It's Michigan, right? This was created, and this is an NFL team that plays there over the winter. It gets crazy cold in Michigan with snow and whatnot, right? Just think about, Buffalo, I believe, is along the same longitudinal. You guys know what I mean. One or the other. That is along the same line right there. Oh, peeking. Sorry about that, guys. Don't want to be screaming in your ears too much. Who is that mustachioed man? Back to the point. I can see why it is a dome and everything else like this. I can respect that for places like Michigan. Obviously, Buffalo even last year in the NFL. Was literally snowed out. They had to cancel or postpone the game. Numbers that surprised me a little bit. Not gonna lie, Arlington. I'm not gonna lie. Texas fans said it before, and I'll say it again. Texas fans come out for football. There was the Masters going on this weekend. There was more regular season hockey, more regular season NBA, more regular season NHL or sorry, NBA hockey. Baseball, MLB, NBA, NHL, excuse me. but yeah, it's like towards the end of the NHL season. NBA is kind of getting close to there, but we're not talking about massive other games. College basketball is done. We're done competing with college basketball. It's some of the most exciting basketball played for views and for spots and whatnot. Again, though, Birmingham right here, especially doing it like literally during the same day as the spring game. I feel like that number could have been a little bit higher. So boil this down. Birmingham, feel like this could have been higher. Arlington, surprised that wasn't higher. Michigan, man, I really want it to be higher. I really want people to come out for this. I mean, next week is no home game. Fortunately, they're not going to try and compete with the NFL draft for views and asses and seats, people. But 7,000 just does not get it done. Even cutting off, half the field, or half the stands, excuse me, even cutting off some of the upper stands and whatnot, it just doesn't look good. Take this to a high school football field. I'm not sure if there's an MLS stadium up there in old Detroit, but I mean, hell, Audi Field, the DC Defenders seem to rock that place out. So, moving on here, another Mike Mitchell tweet, another shout out, Mike Mitchell, the man, the myth, the legend. There you go. In a good way, though, Mark Mitchell. Showing off the TV ratings here as well. This is really the primo stuff. This is the good stuff right here. Especially given now, I thought that the USFL did not release their viewership ratings last year. It might have been attendance ratings or whatnot, but attendance definitely up. Actually, I think he talks about that. Just to strike back to that, I could have sworn somebody followed up with that and did not. But yeah, so viewership numbers they must have, but this is the big number here: 44% better than last year's respective week 3. Guys, week 3 is when people start to, opening week is always really exciting. Game number 2, even if your team goes down, going into that, even if they lost week 1, okay, it's like 0-2. But going into week 3, if your team's undefeated, and especially after week 3, there are a couple of teams who are winless. They have only lost thus far. This is just brutal for the motivation to come on out, or even just to tune in, like was what we're talking about right here. Somebody, again, folks, this is Twitter. Take this with a big fat grain of salt. But somebody said, "Push the pace." 723 said, if you go to the UFL subreddit discussion over there, again, subreddit can be brainworms, people, but so take it with a grain of salt. But they were saying that it beat out the NHL on viewership and whatnot. And if this was playoff hockey, I'd be very surprised. This is the last 6 or 8 games, and at least in the West, all of the slots are taken up. There's no wild card whatnots craziness to be had. Go Vegas Golden Knights, I believe, with the win tonight against who was that? The Blackhawks. We go up and I think actually secured the 3rd spot. Whatever. This isn't a hockey podcast. Excuse me, guys. Getting into this actual game here. Let's take it to the stats, the numbers, Mason. Damn it, I gotta get that sound clip, because I say that one all the time. Like on commentating. Anybody who's just tuning in for the first time, do a lot of esports casting and whatnot. Traveling around, lots of interviewing and hosting as well. That's how I got into the space. Also a huge spring football fan myself, because I am not defined by my career as much as I love it. Getting into this one, though. First point, so Houston came out strong. This is on special teams right now, getting to my point. Houston came out strong. They take it out to the 50 on their initial kickoff, and we just have to do better on kickoff returns. Isaiah Henney with 207 on 6 kick returns. That's an average, folks, doing the quick math here, the website is. 35 per and 75 on the long. These, look, Isaiah Henney is a very, very talented individual. Not saying anything about that, but especially given how much special teams matters here within the UFL, these are numbers you cannot consistently go forth and give up. Right? If this was a team that was a little bit more put together, a team, Houston Roughnecks team that had Mark Thompson, Houston Roughnecks team that didn't perform like they did here on the day, honestly, then I think giving up this much yardage off of kickoff returns with the UFL kickoff is not sustainable to try and put up anywhere near a 14-point lead. So off of the 50 yard, or not 50 yard, to the 50 kickoff return, touchdown on the opening drive and get the 2-point conversion. Folks, Panthers fans were shaking on our boots over here because well, I believe Michigan was favored by a couple of points coming into here by all the smart people in Vegas and think about that stuff. And it just seemed like this was a very, very bad start here for the Michigan Panthers. Fortunately, come forth, answer with a three-point kick. I believe that was like 46 yards, something like that, and it was off to the races from there. Perry gets the 15-yard touchdown after shutting them down on I think they got one first down, but it was just a punt after that. We march up the field, tries to get it to Marcus Sims, not so much. Let's take a look at what happened from there.
Injury slowed him down junior and senior year. Sit it.
Give me that! I love that. Dominating in the game of football. Let's see that in instant replay. So, oh yeah, getting this one forward. Skipping a couple of these. So then the next is well, just a defensive stop.
Pressure coming to center.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Guys, we did not get a whole lot of sacks in this, you know what I'm saying? And this came out about as good a time. Forcing this, as you can see, 50 seconds left.
And Molson nails it.
So, writing's on the wall, right? Writing's on the wall. Oh, wait, I forgot about a man named Jake Bates. Jake M.F. Bates, the ICEMAN Cometh. You can't freeze that which is frozen, people. Jesus. Oh, yeah, the Spider-Man. The Spider-Man. So, oh, hang on. So, come out of the half, obviously, up by a single point. Anybody who took that, Michigan being ahead first half, which we'll get to that. Sorry, I keep prefacing betting stuff. I remember. So, folks, what I'm trying to do here, we'll get to this in a second. What I'm trying to do is I understand that a lot of football fans specifically, or a lot of sports fans in general, a lot of football fans specifically, maybe a little bit who aren't particularly wager placers, aren't bettors themselves, are not gamblers, might be a little bit tired with the amount, and especially watching some of these ESPN games, man. They are. I'll talk a little bit more about it, but you can tell they're just being fed lines, and most of these people, aside from that sideline reporter, her points were fantastic. Yes, they hammed it up a little bit, whatever you could tell she was talking about, and that's my entire point. Some of these guys literally do not know what they are talking about. From a commentator standpoint, I feel like they are just being fed lines that they literally have to read in here, almost like ad reads, almost like just taking a look right off the script and reading it like line for line. It's really, really bad. My point being, I'm trying to avoid the betting talk during the regular parts of these segments and mostly save that for the end. I might end up splitting these up and actually getting the review preview section, the previous week review, next week preview, done a little bit earlier on the week, and then having this betting segment come out on Fridays. I'm not 100% sure about that. I'll get to it. My point being, obviously, it's easy to talk about teams and who's favored in the manner of points, and I mean, these supercomputers in Vegas are the best way to determine that. Probably a really, really overly long explanation, but regardless, it's something I've been trying to incorporate here within. Regardless, sorry. Okay, Michigan coming into the half, at the end of the half, excuse me, up by a single point, 12-11. Then we get into the second half, and I mean, folks, cue the music. This is the beginning of something beautiful.
Sewell with the pressure from inside. Perry gets away with him. Low throw. Sims is up. He's scooting. Sideline. He's already got one from 76. Give him another. Goodbye, Marcus Sims.
Bye-bye, Marcus Sims.
66-yard touchdown for the Mountaineer.
Couldn't be me.
This is
Couldn't be
just
me.
a late
Let's see that.
Let's
replay.
To the right side after E.J. Perry's flushed. He hits him, and I knew there was a problem here. Because if you don't make that tackle,
this is so
good,
good, dude.
Perimeter,
So good. And just maintaining this line, obviously you want to stay on the outside as long as you can. Stayed inside completely. There was a couple of steps in there. I personally did look at it that seemed like, oh, white shoes might have touched the white outside. They were not completely clean all the way inside, and of course they review everything as well. This was fantastic. Man lost his towel. number 9 lost his towel right there. Fantastic stuff. Fantastic stuff right here. Absolutely love it. What can I say? E.J. Perry. The man Marcus Sims.
Louis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Love it. Love the Casablanca action coming at you. Some of y'all don't know about that. And like I said, this was the beginning truly of something beautiful. The third quarter, come forth 22 points in the third quarter. Michigan ending 34-20 with 22 in the third. Actually, nothing in the fourth as well. Houston tries to mount a comeback. Defense staying strong right there in the score 34-20. Fantastic stuff. Moving on along here to some standout stats for this matchup between the Houston Roughnecks and the Michigan Panthers. First, so taking a look at where I always go. They don't have time of possession on here for some reason. But where my mind always goes is these. The total plays offensively, this is split about evenly as you can, 54-56. That's where the difference is, fortunately for us Michigan Panthers, stops, right? 0 sacks against us. 0 sacks against us right here. Absolutely love what the offensive line was able to do. E.J. Perry was very, very mobile and got plenty of runs. Another big standout right here, the 2 and 2 on fourth downs right there. Able to convert and get it done where they want to. Flip-flopping on you guys. Flip-flopping, not, unpredictable. You don't know where I'm going to go here next because I got to talk about something not so good. Wes Hills right here. 15 attempts on 23 yards. What is going on in Detroit, Michigan? Wes Hills, color me surprised, folks. This is a player that I saw getting, about these many attempts and 3 times as many yards, at least 1.5 per. This is nothing to write home happy about. Longest of 7 yards right there. Now, fortunately for us, man named Matt Colburn is coming through and really carrying the rock, literally and figuratively as well. 9 attempts, 28 yards. Again, nothing like awe-inspiring, but really got it done. And again, longest on, what almost half as many attempts right there, and longest twice as long. E.J. Perry as well. Let's talk about some of the good that I like to get back before some of the bad. 16 on 19 pass attempts. We could honestly bump up these attempts, like a little bit more right here. 208 yards, good. I would say on 16 right there. The completion rate, freaking-tastic. No interceptions, tossed one for a tutty, ending with a rating of 193.5. I should have gotten this up beforehand to see if that was the highest for week number 3, but given that. Given 16 and 19 and no INTs, I'd say that's a real damn good contender for best quarterback of week number 3. Getting back to maybe the not well, the up and the down, right? 9 attempts. 9 attempts is a lot for a rush. Pretty much every quarterback in this league is going to get a couple of attempts just based on feeling pressure and then seeing a pocket in front of them and rushing forward for at least a few with a slide on the end. 9 though, 9. I'd credit 5, something like that, to kind of mix up defenses. Not really know what you're gonna do when you have 56 total plays right there, 1 in 10, something like that, right? Wouldn't be against that, but 9, and again, so 5 allowing for a couple of more situations where they just see pocket in front of them, go forth, slide down for a 4 or 5 yard gain. 9 is quite a lot. I say that, 2 touchdowns, though. Fantastic. Getting back to the great right here. Of course, this is 4 total rushing touchdowns on 3 games, is the most in the league, people. Person Jr. there for the Stallions with 3 of them. Lindsey Scott for Arlington with 2, and then there's a laundry list of folks with a single rushing touchdown. Obviously, some running backs don't even have one quite yet. Edling rushing well, folks. If what we want out of old Edling here is for E.J. Perry to come forth and get especially on long offensive drives, especially with the 4th and 12 rules in this at the end of the game or something like this. If what you want is a little bit of relief for E.J. Perry, Edling has done that fantastically. Edling here, 3 on 13, average of 4.3, highest outside of course, E.J. Perry. And the best number here for the 9 and 60, 9 attempts for 60 yards, is the long was only 12. This is very, very consistent numbers. Now, obviously, not all of them can be 12-yard rushes and whatnot, but damn near, right? I mean, the average is 6.5, with only a few lower than that. I think that's pretty darn good, and I think we can be really happy with E.J. Perry getting that one done. More standout plays. Quinn Quinn right here Quinn actually getting the most targets again, second time in a row, but it's Sims who is just making that thing sing. Marcus Sims 4 for 485 yards, and of course for the tutty 66 on those. So what if you if you go forth, take that 66 out, you're looking at, what, 18 on 3. That's still an average of 6. That's not great, not terrible. That's something I could see, a couple like 12 and then like one single pass for like, a single yard or something like this. But still, spreading the ball around is never going to be something that I'm going to complain about. Like, obviously, there's always going to be standout receivers on teams, the guys that go forth and consistently make plays. Marcus Sims so far has really seemed like that, especially on his ability. I mean, you saw this, guys, you saw this earlier. His ability to cut down the field and read the green in front of him, go forth and really create space for himself, use his blockers and avoid defenders has just been awe-inspiring so far. It was a 60-something yarder last week. It's a 66-yarder this week. I'm not upset about it. I am not upset about it. Now, folks, can you even call it a standout stat? Jake Bates, two of them, 46 and 55, both hit right here. And again, this one, the very, very last second of the second half, first half, second period. I will say this, though. Kicking in this league has been absolutely fantastic, folks. Just absolutely amazing. Got a little stat right here for y'all. There have been 4 missed field goals thus far. Absolutely 4 of them. I don't have the graphic up for you, but I can read it to you. Let's see. Chris Blewett missed 1 of them. 9 attempts, missed 1, 8 made. Matt Coughlin for the Showboats right there. 9 attempts, 8 made. Matthew McCrane, 8 on 8 for the DC Defenders over there. AJ Molson for the Houston Roughnecks, 6 on 6, 100% perfect all the way through there. Andrew Smith, 7 on 6, 7 attempts for 6 made in for the Battlehawks right there, and 86%. Jake Bates, the man, the myth, the legend, the Iceman Cometh, 5 and 5, longest is 64 as well. Taylor Rostolino, 6 attempts, 5 made there for the Arlington Renegades, and the Brahmas making 0 field goal attempts across the first 2 weeks. Ryan Santoso making 2 for 2 right there. So the lowest percentage technically being 6 attempts, 5 made. Taylor Rostolino for the Arlington Renegades at 83%. Nobody. Oh yeah, and also Ryan Santosa, longest was 35 yards. The only other kicker with a long less than 50 yards was Chris Blewett. Everybody else, and obviously Jake Bates, longest of 64. But some other standouts. Got to give it to Matthew McCrane, 58 yards. Matt Coughlin, Matt Coughlin, 57 yards right there. But really like Matthew McCrane, right? 8 on 8, 58 yards, fantastic stuff. AJ Molson, longest of 55. Some fantastic stuff. So some really, really fantastic stuff here with the kicking. It is damn near a guarantee, folks. It is damn near a guarantee that if you line up within 60 yards or so, obviously with Jake Bates, but with almost any of these kickers, they're going to go forth and they're going to do some damage, put some points on the board. Taking a look right here and now at the power rankings. Now, folks, 2 things. First, this is a conglomerate of all of the UFM members, the United Football Media members, United Football Media Group. You got plenty of things down there to check them out. Ace, Webb, Brandon, San Antonio Brahmas bullpen with AJ, right? Scout, Buck over there doing it for the Stallions as well. But we got somebody literally for everybody team, for every team in the UFL, and we have like a couple talk shows, talk about it and whatnot, kind of like around the horn type stuff. Folks, these are fantastic. Folks, just go over there. There are too many to list right now. Seriously, we don't have enough time. Birmingham Stallions clear away here and first. St. Louis Battlehawks, I can agree with this one as well. This is where I stopped agreeing with the consensus. Again, the general consensus right here for this is everybody conglomerate opinion here for the United Football Media. Brahmas 3rd, Michigan Panthers 4th. Single tier. DC Defenders 5th, Memphis Showboats 6th, Arlington Renegades next to last at 7th, and of course the Houston Roughnecks at 8th. Let's take a look though. Yeah, my power rankings here, right here. I think that So let's go through mine. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. Birmingham. Damn near an NFL team. I think. Sorry. Excuse me. This big disclaimer. Asterisk. warning. This power ranking was put out, as you can see, April 16th, 4/16. This was before the Chase Garbers news. We're going to talk about that a little bit more, but that was before the Chase Garbers news. Injury to the wrist on a hit. I think it was even a late hit, honestly. I was watching some Brahmas bullpen earlier, guys, and I was surprised that there wasn't more venom and vitriol, right, about a hit that, if I remember right, was pretty darn late, and the man went forth and played with it first. Absolute man movement right there. Playing with an injury in general, but also an injury on a wrist. I don't believe it was on his throwing hand, but still, folks, especially the way that St. Louis defenders really getting after it right there. Just playing with an injury like that, insane. Previous, bam. Once again, this was all done by members before the Chase Garbers news came out. This was done after the Chase Garbers news. Or no, this wasn't. I would have put San Antonio down by 4 exactly. So Birmingham first again. Once again, NFL status team basically. St. Louis, their offense is really, really good. I think I'm putting them like. This would be like a tied for second, honestly. Like, yes, we beat them, but I think if you repeat this game like 5 more times, we literally go 3-3. And given how St. Louis's offense is gonna continue to mess up a lot of other teams within this league, XFL and UFL, I don't think I can't say the Mission's gonna finish with a better record than there because their offense is just so good. Our defense is better than them, but not anywhere near that same margin. San Antonio, Dormady is gonna be coming in for Chase Garbers. That was announced as well. This might influence like a little bit as well, and other members on this squad are really, really good. We're going to talk about John Trey Kirkland, McFarland, the running back here in a little bit. But just getting through the rest of the power rankings here. Memphis, I wanted this team to be better. I swear to God I did. Brandon, captain, my captain. I wanted this team to be fantastic. I wanted them to let this man cook and let Case get on it, right? Go forth and get these to, Adams, right? Jonathan Adams, most yards on the squad, no tutties so far. Papali, the leaning tower of Papali, fantastic guy. Sal Canilla, the tight end, these are some fantastic options. Victor over there running the rock. I am amazed that Memphis is at where they're at right now. Arlington, similarly, I am amazed that they're at status-wise 2-1 where they're at right now. This overcome win from DC more so tells me more, the DC win over Arlington more so says to me about the Arlington defense and whatnot. DC, one of the biggest disappointments of this league so far, of this year in the league so far. I am very, very surprised they are 2-1. Arlington also, flip side, not as bad as 1-2. Not as bad as 0-3. Houston Roughnecks are one of the teams of the UFL. Sorry about it. No Mark Thompson so far. I think they're getting him back this week. I would still have to go forth and really, really take a look at this squad, really evaluate this squad with a solid game with Mark Thompson before I'm willing to really move they would need wins. They'd Mark Thompson back. They need a lot right here. They did make some changes. I'll let Ace over there take care of all that for you guys. Check it out. Roughnecks rundown. Go through. I would be surprised if Ace at some point this week doesn't sit down and pour through all of these moves and exactly where. Already been tweeting out the yin yang about how he wants Boogie right there. Boogie with a lot of experience with a lot of the players who are on this team right now. Regardless, getting further away from that. Guys, check out Ace Roughnecks rundown. Taking a look now. Preview of next week. Taking on the San Antonio Brahmas. We are leaving Ford Field for the first time of this year, right? There's definitely a little bit of a home team boost, especially basically, folks, if you're traveling into Texas, you can anticipate at least, honestly, I think that those Arlington numbers were a little bit little weird, little odd. I would be surprised, and hey, go check out the Brahmas bullpen. He really took city of San Antonio to task. He took some of the Brahmas fans to task about saying, like, yeah, these are fantastic numbers watching, but we need butts in seats. The powers that be, as he said, right? How long are they going to let this go on with no real dollars, which, of course, comes from people coming out, spending money on tickets, buying merch, and eating and drinking to their heart's content while at these, honestly, amazing football games. I mean, football's religion down in Texas. I am also surprised that this is not a much bigger thing, especially in a city that only has one professional sports team. You know, the Spurs. Oh well. Hey, they say everything is bigger down in Texas. Maybe that's confusion too, or my confusion with it, I should say. Taking a look here for week 4. San Antonio Brahmas hosting us, the Michigan Panthers. Talking about some of the stats here, we are 5th overall in offense, last in passing, folks. Marcus Sims, E.J. Perry, the connection has been made. It is electric. It is not getting things anywhere near as done as many other people in the league. Now 3rd in rushing, and this is by yards as well. Obviously, by rushing touchdowns, we are numero uno, right? But as far as rushing yards, 3rd right here for the offense. So really, I mean, I'm never going to say that we need to rush the ball. We're going to stop doing so well on offense when it comes to rushing the ball, but we really need to marry these two stats and get our passing up a little bit more. Also, getting the tight end involved. I'll talk a little bit more about this and whatnot, but taking a look at tied for and also talking specifically about so that was yards. Talking specifically about passing touchdowns, we are tied for 8th. Tied for 8th, dead last. I believe that's only 2 passing touchdowns for E.J. Perry across 3 games here. Need to be getting at least 1. We are, of course, tied for 1st with Birmingham as far as rushing touchdowns, right? Between E.J. Perry and our backs going forth and carrying this rock. Before I jump into before I jump in a little bit farther into the San Antonio Brahmas matchup and whatnot, folks, if you watched last week, I made jokes, about the whole Mark Thompson thing, like, oh, hey, don't play, health is wealth and else and everything else like this. But nobody, and I mean nobody worthwhile, likes to see injuries like this. Chase Garbers, injury to the left wrist, I believe. He is going to be out for the rest of the season, confirmed yesterday through socials and everything else like this. Folks, I don't think anybody expected. I don't think San Antonio Brahmas expected. I definitely know the bullpen did not expect Chase Garbers to come out here and be leading passing rusher. Oh, yeah, to be leading passing rusher. Sorry, the leading rusher for quarterbacks. Only been sacked 3 times. Obviously, this is a little bit to say, for his offensive line, but the guy has been great on his legs. And 1 interception for 586 yards, folks. This is just under 200 per game. This is not the NFL. There's not very many 350-yard passing games put up. 8 rushes for 37 yards and a tutty. These are fantastic numbers for Chase Garbers, who simply does not rush anywhere near as much as, say, E.J. Perry. Leading passing rusher. I think what I put here in the notes is he's gotten the most passing touchdowns. They have 6 passing touchdowns. Sorry about that, guys. Back and forth right here. I would say it's my dirty handwriting, but this is also over on the Google Google Sheets, the Google Docs, whatever. All right, getting into this game. Folks, no one is going to have, yes, we are leaving home for the first time, but no one is going to have an easier game against San Antonio than we are this week. Whatever happens, Dormady is going to be starting for the first time this week. Folks, Jontre Kirkland has thrown more passes than Dormady has in these games. Brad Wing has thrown for more passes. The punter, right, on that trick play in week number 1 for the San Antonio Brahmas has thrown more passes than Dormady. Dormady, I think stats and whatnot speak for themselves. We saw how he has played across a few spring football seasons. It is fair to say he is not the greatest quarterback by any means. Speaking of, though, well, McFarland just showed us what he can do, folks, over there for the San Antonio Brahmas. That was Farland for 23 attempts. Whew! 92 yards, a single tutty. Love it, getting 25. So 25 attempts on 65 yards in a tutty. and especially with Garbers coming out here, these are numbers that we have to pay attention to. These are 23 attempts, 92 yards, and a tutty for Mark Farland. Lovett 25 attempts for 65 yards and a tutty. These are stats from the previous week as well. These are numbers you can expect to get better. I think all of us came in expecting a whole lot from Lovett. Looking at McFarland across 3 weeks so far, I think this last week has really shown us that this guy can carry this freaking rock. Wrote it in all caps here, folks. John Trey Kirkland. My goodness. The man is not just a threat on all 3 levels as well. He can take screens and then get the ball, as we can see. He has gone 1 for 2 on passing attempts. The one that hit was this past week. That was for 15 or 16 yards or something like this, and for a very, very crucial first down. Wade Phillips has shown that he can go forth and get these trick plays going with the greatest of ease. This is what we saw, the Brad Wing fake punt, pass off to the thick 6, the pass to the center right there for the tutty. Saw comebacks and everything in between there for this guy. We have seen coaching-wise he can go forth and get it done. I do not want John Trey Kirkland to continue this kind of thing, and I think this is something that we're probably going to see. Our defense really, really needs to be ready. At the end of the day, honestly, I don't want this game to go differently. Obviously, winning by 14 points, absolutely love that. I do not think this is going to be a much more close game, especially if unless Dormady, I should say, does not get it figured out. But again, this head coach, man, Wade Phillips can figure out a whole lot of things. He can figure out what plays and players are good where as well, and they're gonna have. I mean, if this was like, oh, we do X-rays on Chase Garbers like on Thursday, and we find out like, oh, final word coming down, we were not sure he is going to be out for the season, that'd be a different story. It's Tuesday, as I guess technically it's Wednesday right now as I'm recording this. It came out yesterday. They're going to have Wednesday, Thursday, Friday to go forth and get this done. Obviously, Dorman has still been throwing balls in practice and whatnot and staying fresh. But I don't really want this game to go that differently. We need to take big shots when we can, but do not force it. These 0 sacks against Perry did not happen by mistake. This is a fantastic ideal as well, but I don't see the San Antonio Brahmas defense going forth and putting up the goose egg when it comes to sacks in week number 4, unless we just go forth and then really, really stand up and these guys protect Perry. Yes, he's a mobile quarterback. Yes, he also needs that protection very frequently. Obviously, running backs will have a role in there sometimes when you have your play actions. Sims. Let's talk about Marcus Sims, folks. Marcus Sims is number 2 in yards overall, but Michigan is the bottom of the league in passing offense. Folks, if this doesn't tell you that we have kind of a single-minded offense and a man named Marcus Sims, then I don't know what else. Wade Phillips, he can do math as well. He can even read, I'm told. And he can read the writing on the wall, and that is that Marcus Sims, you shut him down. A lot of our passing threats and the aggression, the pressure that we can put through the air is going to be gone as well. Get Quinn involved, trust Sims to get huge plays going, but also use him as a threat. And frequently, if they're going to go forth and they would even want to dedicate 2 players, 2 defenders to covering Sims, then this is why we have players named Quinn and whatnot. Yeah, 2 passing touchdowns only. Now, we have, again, beginning of a beautiful friendship, but I want to see a little bit more, and I also want to see this friend group expand a little bit, folks, and get this ball out, especially to Hikutini. Hikutini, I believe, is the tight end right there. We only targeted twice, and you know what? I can look at this, right? Bam. Hikutini. Yep. Hikutini only targeted twice. The one that he got was for 6 yards, and it was fantastic. You got to get tight ends involved. They can't just be blocking members and whatnot. This is going to be about it for the preview review, right? Vegas, the supercomputers say that that the San Antonio Brahmas are going to beat us by a single point. OU is 41. I think the OU is reminiscent of a Michigan Panthers past. Our offense has figured it out a lot more, and the number one, this is probably a number +1 with us mild underdogs pre-Chase Garbers news and whatnot. That's going to be it for our review. We'll get into the betting segment here and next, guys. And now the Panthers Picks segment coming hot at you. Folks, I mentioned it earlier and whatnot. I get how it is. We might be dividing off the gambling segment and have that be a separate video, separate part here in the future. We will see. Until then, attached to the end. If you are uninterested, then go ahead and tune on out. Not going to hold it against you. If you're underage or have problems with gambling, you can get out. You need to get out right now. Taking a look, though, moving on along, got our lines up here. These are provided by DraftKings. There has been a line movement as well. We'll get to that. I'll talk about that when we get there. Memphis Showboats. Let's see, underdogs by 7 by a full tutty. 45.5. The over/under. DC Defenders visiting the Birmingham Stallions. Pretty heavy underdogs right there. OU is set at 47. Michigan Panthers +1. Bare minimal underdogs. Just giving up, or just giving away a point there. San Antonio hosting. 41 is the over/under right there. Arlington Renegades -2.5 against the Houston Roughnecks, who are hosting. OU set at 46.5. Now, line movement over on DK was from 2.5 Arlington on over to 3. People put money onto Arlington. There's not news yet about Mark Thompson, but we will get there when we get there. First game on the slate: Memphis Showboats taking on the St. Louis Battlehawks. Battlehawks setting all kinds of records when it comes to attendance and whatnot. And these are the kind of things that matters. Honestly, guys, Brandon over there on the captain's log said it best. Can Cookus live through another 7 weeks of the UFL? Guys, we're talking, 14 total sacks. 11 of them come against Cookus. This is an offensive line with Memphis that maybe they just have something against Cookus. Maybe they're trying to teach him a lesson. I don't know. I honestly don't know. What I do know is the quarterbacks cannot frequently get something going when the team is suffering almost 5 sacks per game. McCarron on the other side, the St. Louis Battlehawks looked absolutely great last week. Got the little flip pass right in for the touchdown, right close and personal. 33 years old, A.J. McCarron, maybe, dare I say it, looking a little Mahomes-esque. St. Louis Battlehawks offense firing all cylinders. Back on over with the Memphis Showboats. This is some of the best. Like receiving weapons that you got between the wide receiving core, the tight ends. Obviously, the San Antonio Brahmas on stats, like that trio of players there, are going to be able to take down that accolade, right? Like best trio when it comes to receiving numbers and whatnot. But Jonathan Adams, Vinny Papali. These are players that should be able to get it done. There's obviously plenty of people out there. Jonathan Adams, always the bridesmaid and never the bride, folks. Most receiving yards on the squad. 0 touchdowns. 0 passing touchdowns from the Cookus himself so far. Taking a look at the numbers.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
This is now getting into the 3rd week. We are actually getting closer to a real sample size, right? You can take one single result, you can toss it right out the window because, again, sample size. Even 3 weeks now, and especially given that every team is coming into this, and at the end of week 4, we'll see both a home game and an away game in some capacity, right? Michigan coming through with 3 home games. They'll be playing their first away game here on the day. But a pretty solid sample size. But again, by the numbers, Memphis has the number 2 rushing defense. St. Louis has the number 2 rushing offense. Let's look at here for rushing. Bam, right there. Defense, rushing, Memphis. This is going to be really, really back and forth, right? Memphis is going to have to get the ball through the air if they're going to try and cover this 7. Taking a look at the Memphis rushing Memphis rushing defense and St. Louis rushing offense. That's Gallman over there, I believe out of Clemson. Boo, go Cox. This is honestly tough to say. The over/under is tough to say. 45.5. These are both like middling defenses with fantastic quarterbacks, and if they can get it done. But really, at the end of the day, I think that I'm leaning way more -7 there for St. Louis, just simply because what defensive lines have been doing against Case Cookus so far. At what point does this equal out to bullying? At what point do we call up a national hotline and be like, yeah, man, my friend Case Cookus, he's being really let down by his friends over there on the offensive line. I'm not sure how much more he can take. Moving on along here. DC Defenders visiting the Birmingham Stallions. This is obviously home field here for Birmingham. They did not have fantastic numbers last week as well. So while home field advantage does exist, I believe here it's more so for like taking away the Audi field effect here for the DC defenders. DC might also have Kiki Coutier back, but at the end of the day, this is just not going to be enough against a passing defense. Oh no, excuse me. The total defense here, Birmingham Stallions, is numero uno. Passing defense, though, a little bit more, little bit more in the middle here. And also, I mean, who did they play? Okay, so passing offense, yeah, they played the Renegades week number 1. Obviously did a great job against them. Michigan, us, I mean, we have the longest pass. Does that count for something? Because offensive passing, we are next to the bottom. DC's defense, take a look. Also, this site is like really, really weird, but just taking a look at rankings and defenses and whatnot. Wait, hang on. Yeah, so overall defense, right, for whatever reason, there we go. For whatever reason, defense is like all the way up here. I guess they're ranking this by total tackles. I don't really see how that's like a metric that really like gets you like the number 1 here for total defense, but then you go look over total defense and you see the DC defenders are much more like middle of the road when it comes to overall defense. Taking a look at passing defense, DC way down here, whereas Birmingham can not get pass the ball as well, you see right here, but they don't need to because they rush the ball like crazy. Taking a look at rushing defense, DC once again towards the middle of the pack. I'm gonna take Birmingham until we're proven different, right? That was, yeah, Birmingham -8. I have -7 written down here. I don't know why I threw myself off like that. DC's defense is okay. The site is just being weird right here. They again have that really like middling rushing defense, but Birmingham's defense is number 1 overall. I'm gonna say Birmingham -8 because I just feel like until this reaches double-digit numbers, and I say that, man, but the way that the UFL comeback rules are, DC's already done that once as well, and G-R-E-G, defensive coordinator here for the DC defenders, can definitely get this done. I'm leaning under 47. I don't, maybe, and something to look at here might be the DC team total. I think it was 21.5. I don't have it right in front of me. And if that was the case, I would definitely take under this because I could see this being a 28-13, 28-10 game with Birmingham on top. Again, I'm not saying it's like an auto fade. Oh, these are live lines, by the way, as you see here. Arlington Renegades going up to -3. I mean, they're -2.5 at they're -2.5 points to win at -115 earlier. So obviously, might want to get your money in on Arlington while you can. I'll finish up on this, and then I'm recording this on Wednesday afternoon. Believe this will coming out on Friday. And I'll kind of give you guys a good idea of like, oh, this is the opening line, and I like this. Take the, if this is available at this point, go ahead and take that as well, because obviously these are going to be changing like crazy. Moving on along to the next game here, Michigan Panthers visiting the San Antonio Brahmas. This is, I talked about this a little bit earlier in the episode. I don't think a team is going to get as, like, except for, like, unless they lose, like, a head quarterback and San Antonio plays outside of San Antonio, outside of the Alamo Dome, I just don't think that anybody's going to get an easier game against this squad. Chase Garbers has been firing all cylinders, doing fantastic things across 3 weeks, 6 total passing touchdowns. Well, he's out, injured the left wrist, out for the season, on IR at least. So even if mountains were moved and God himself got involved in spring football, then he wouldn't be able to play until at least week 9, I guess, technically, because 5 weeks of IR. Yeah, regardless, the other thing to look at right here, Michigan Panthers +1 overall, love that. But the first half bets, guys, San Antonio has been a second half team in a lot of ways. Let's take a look. Let's take a look at this so you guys can kind of get an idea of what I was talking about. Bam, bam, bam. These are gonna take a while to load. It's all good. Obviously, San Antonio had that amazing comeback with the utilizing the 4th and 12 rules, as well as other kind of shenaniganery. That's what we'll call it, shenaniganery. Those aren't going to load. At the end of the day, props on Kirkland you might want to look at. Obviously, Kirkland has done fantastic things receiving the ball. Once again, a triple threat, all sides of the field. He's also tossed, right? He's also thrown a couple. I was memeing a little bit earlier about how John Shea Kirkland has actually thrown more passes than Dormady coming on in here, as has Brad Wing, the punter. Little bit of memery regardless. Obviously, Dormady is going to be getting it done in practice as of right now. Line is +1 and over under set at 41. I'm just honestly, guys, I have pushed more bets in 3 weeks of UFL. I think like 6 of them, which is just unheard of. I think I probably pushed like maybe 15 or 20 bets in my entire life. 6 in 3 weeks of spring football here is absolutely ridiculous. Guys, once again, though, as far as this +1 is easy. This is easy money. We have a great defense that is going to be able to shut down anything they can do on offense, and the E.J. Perry Marcus Sims connection is just getting better, especially when you go forth and look at overall defenses here. I do not understand that. I do not understand. Oh, this because it's total tackles. It just doesn't make any sense. Total defense here, San Antonio, middle of the road. We're right below them. We've gotten beat up on a little bit. San Antonio Brahmas, best passing defense in the league. Well, hopefully we're not going to have to utilize that one too much because San Antonio's rushing defense is down here. E.J. Perry and the other folks here. Wes Hills, obviously Colburn kid, shown last week that they're starting to get something connected, and the rushing for Michigan is going to be fantastic right here. Over 41 with Garbers in is great. But with Garbers out, not as strong, but still might lean over. Yes, Michigan almost almost took the over themselves at 34. It was what the over-under was 38.5 if you got it in early. Michigan got 34 themselves. I don't see that happening again. That was against Houston. This is a different squad than San Antonio, obviously. Team totals on Michigan of over 20.5 might be worthwhile. That's 3 tutties, or that's, a touchdown. What? 5 Jake Bates 60 yards field goals, 70-yard field goals. Who gives a crap, right? Yeah, so team totals of Michigan I would look at right here, but really, honestly, my strongest bet here is probably first half. I got first half money line for Michigan. I think at like -112 or -109, something like this. Just them being ahead, obviously, with no third, with no three-way there, just money line either or. If they're tied, obviously, it's a push. Moving on along to Arlington, the only line here that has changed significantly from when I got all these numbers, I believe they're released Monday night, and into now, Arlington was 2.5. They are now -3. Taking a look by the numbers once again, folks.
The numbers, Mason. What do they mean?
This is the worst overall and worst rushing defense in the league for Arlington against the worst offense in Houston. This across 3 weeks. 3 weeks that a man named Mark Thompson didn't play. So that's the big number up in the air. Really, like, one man playing in this football game is going to determine so much of my bets here. So really, again, this should come out on Friday. They should have an answer by that or by then, 48 hours beforehand and whatnot. 5th overall defense for Houston, the 5th overall defense for Houston, and the 5th worst passing defense against the best passing offense for Arlington. Folks, the fix is in right here, -3. If Mark Thompson doesn't play, is free cash here for Arlington. If Mark Thompson does play, then I'm looking at the over 46.5, even more so. Absolutely crazy, guys. I know I took 3 overs and 1 under. What can I say? I'm a casual bettor. I just like seeing points, like seeing touchdowns. The league loves me, okay? Really, though, Friday, check this out. Mark Thompson playing over 46.5. Smash it. Sell your house. Talk your neighbor into selling their house, and then take their house, mortgage it, even if they don't. 46.5 should cash all day long. These are terrible defenses, and at least one is fantastic with rushing offense, or with passing offense, in Arlington and Houston. If they get Mark Thompson back, this is the guy that did amazing, literally unprecedented things in the USFL last year. Smash the over at 46.5. Mark Thompson doesn't play, takes another week to get healthy. We're looking at -3 on Arlington. Taking a look now. Best bets. This is not necessarily something that you parlay together, but best bets. First, the St. Louis, -7 hosting Memphis. honestly, just in order to cover this number, all St. Louis really has to do is just get to Case Cookus, which is shown to be incredibly, incredibly easy. Case Cookus, yeah, he's got legs, but nothing, like, nowhere near the likes of, say, your E.J. Perry's, even A.J. McCarron, right? I'm sure you guys saw the tweet of A.J. McCarron's brother tweeting out, like, saying, like, oh, God, guys, couldn't you have gotten anybody else to run this ball in? Because now I know what we're going to hear at home. A.J. McCarron with a quick-footed 15-yard rush in after, like, checking all the way down, seeing nobody was open, getting it done himself. Running the rock, carrying that one, escorting all the way into the end zone for 6. I believe they connected for 2 after that one. Regardless, best bets, Michigan +1, St. Louis -7. Memphis is a team that I want them to do better. I genuinely do. But it's just rough. It is rough out there in Memphis, Music City. I don't know about. No, that's Nashville. Shit. In Memphis, whatever Memphis is known as. How about that one? Let's see, our Michigan +1, and then again, look at Arlington and Houston. Houston's also shuffled things around a little bit, and a couple of players retiring, a couple of players leaving for personal reasons, a couple of players moving on along to different things. If Mark Thompson does play, smash the over at 46.5. If Mark Thompson doesn't play, look at Arlington -3. I'm gonna let everybody now moving on along to this kind of like parlay section. Everybody does this differently. And I just, 2-leg parlay I'm happy with, but that's not sexy, right? 3-leg parlay where you're just taking money lines of, like, favorited teams, just not sexy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to call it a boring bankroll builder. I take one bet at one of the standards, ATS, the over-under or something like this, and I max it with something, either an adjusted total on over-under or just a straight-up money line. This week, what we're going to go with is St. Louis money line, boring, Birmingham money line, boring, and the Arlington -3 if Mark Thompson doesn't play, or if Mark Thompson doesn't play over 46.5. I would honestly, especially by Friday, I would not be surprised if 46.5 doesn't go down a little bit. That just seems like a very, very high number right here for that game for Arlington and Houston, especially especially once the Thompson information comes out and whatnot, whether or not he's deemed healthy or not. But that's going to be your safe parlay. 2 locks and a booster. Call it a boring bankroll builder. Call it whatever the hell you want to. St. Louis moneyline, Birmingham moneyline, Arlington -3, or over 46.5 if Mark Thompson does play. Folks, this has been the Panthers PAWD-CAST. I very, very much appreciate y'all watching. This is the little gambling segment on the end. Again, do not bet with more money than you can stand to lose. Do not gamble underage. Do not gamble intoxicated. And this is America. You do what you do. Cannot advocate for using VPNs if you're in states where sports gambling is not legal. If you're here in Las Vegas like me, you ain't got to worry about any of that. All of these numbers have been pulled from DraftKings. I do not use DraftKings because I live in Las Vegas and I use real sports books like Caesars, MGM, other things like this personally. Anybody here in Vegas, and just in case anybody else is watching, this station actually gets their numbers out pretty early. Station, the locals casino there gets theirs out pretty early. Hey, appreciate y'all watching. If you hit, then here you go.
You ever made out with a tugboat?